Well, this is fun, this part. You all know this, but this is the fun part of my talk. I like to do this. So what are we really trying to do? We're trying to facilitate this lifestyle that the research says is going to result in successful aging. Well, I'd like to go into just a little more detail because we all walk, we all have 2 feet. We're all the same species. So I think this can help all of us as we leave here. What do we want to do with our lives? What sort of things are we hoping to get for a lifestyle for our residents and a culture that encourages a certain lifestyle, but also about us? So here we go. Use it or lose it. You've always felt, this is the fun part. Astronauts in weightlessness, and before we knew the problem, would in just a couple weeks lose 25% of their muscle mass. And their hearts would be unable to pump enough pressure to keep them conscious standing up, because in weightlessness they weren't challenged. And this could happen in 2 weeks. People at bed rest, when we used to put them at bed rest for a week for back injuries, the equivalent of aging 2 years. Their muscles, their physiology. So using it, not using it, and the equivalent for all of us is just sitting, watching TV, not moving. It is very, very costly, incredibly costly. And, for some reason, people begin to think that, the muscles of an 80-year-old are a lot different than the muscles of a 30-year-old. They are if they're not being used. But if you were to reverse that and not have a 30-year-old use their muscles and have an 80-year-old use them, it would be reversed. They're the same, basically the same. A little bit different as far as activation, but basically the same. They will respond. We have 90-year-olds in wheelchairs. In 8 weeks, with just paying attention to a little bit of muscle, not anything heroic, out of wheelchairs. The things that can happen truly are stereotype smashing and inconsistent with our roots, not inconsistent with our mission, because we're here to do everything we can for older adults, but inconsistent with some of our roots that are about paternalism, comfort, and security. And when adversity strikes, this is the real threat. No one chooses not to use something, but when adversity strikes, they tend to start not using it as they don't use it, they can't do it, and it's just circling the drain. Canine friends, just moving has huge benefits. Just moving. I'm not using the E word, exercise. Just moving. It's about lower risk for heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, but it's feeling better. It's not falling, and if you do fall, not breaking. There's huge benefits. Just moving. And yet, this is how we view fitness in our country. Big 24-hour center and an escalator going up. The brain, using the brain. Nola here, 95. You maybe can't read it. Says, I'm considering a master's degree. What we know, I referred to it, we know that the brain, we know now, unlike what I learned in medical school, we can grow new brain tissue if we have an active lifestyle that can get the blood pumping nutrients up there. The brain is thirsty for nutrients, oxygen. And we challenge our brain with new things. We can see brains being worked, under scans, and you give someone a new task, the brain lights up, you keep them at that task over a number of weeks and keep scanning it, the brain gets bigger in that area. It's growing new brain tissue. Redundancy, plasticity we call it, making it less likely that even if you have a genetic propensity to develop Alzheimer's or other dementia, that kind of lifestyle can push the symptoms back. The nun study showed that emphatically. Push that back so that the nuns never experienced it, or at least we can experience it much later in life.